have a question. What is your favorite song and how do you connect with it? Is it when you fell in love or through something really difficult? I'm your host, Tiffany Mason. Now join me as I interview others and we take a walk down memory lane with them. Let's get lost in why that music matters to them. Turn up your radio and let's explore Memories with a Beat. Hello, Podcast Land. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Memories with a Beat. And today, you guys, I'm very excited. I have with me a published author, Suzanne Moore. Welcome to the show, Suzanne. Would you please just let my audience know a little bit about yourself, and then we'll talk all about your book.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, first of all. So, a little bit about me. Well, I live in Massachusetts, although I am a Jersey girl born and bred. I am a mom. I am a wife. And I like to say that I have one husband, two sons, and a labradoodle, and none of them listen to me. Um, and I also am a business coach. I help independent entrepreneurial women, I like to say, figure out what the 2 to 3 things are they really need to focus on in order to bring more revenue into their business and stop feeling like they're playing a game of whack-a-mole with their to-do list, because way too many entrepreneurial women are doing that. And as you mentioned, I just launched my very first solo book, which is called Hang On Tight, Learn to Love the Roller Coaster of Entrepreneurship, which was a kind of a lifelong dream of mine to write a book. And I like to call it a business memoir. It's a lot about me and stories about me that lead into business lessons for the entrepreneurial woman.
So let's backtrack just a little bit. How did you get into being a coach for entrepreneurial women?
Well, I I got a coaching degree actually years ago, but it was in nutrition coaching. And what I realized is I am not someone who is meant to be a
Mm-hmm.
nutrition coach, but I loved coaching, just not around that subject. And I also recognized that I was a natural marketer. I have an
Mm-hmm.
MBA in marketing and entrepreneurship. And I love business. I love small business. I love talking business. I love all things business, really. So as I was kind of morphing through a series of life experiences, I realized that this is what I wanted to do, but I also felt like I couldn't do it yet because I hadn't had my own
Mm.
successful small business. So I spent a few years owning and running a virtual
Mm-hmm.
assistant business, and gradually morphed out of that and into the strategy and marketing coaching.
Okay,
So
interesting.
little bit of a, circuitous route, but you know what? That's what life's about, right? You got to figure things out along the way.
Yeah, one time my husband read a book and it said something about, or maybe I was reading the book. I think I was reading the book. I think it's there's a lady that climbed Mount Everest and it's a book that she wrote. And she was talking about making her way to the top. And she said sometimes the fastest way to the top is, or maybe not the fastest way, but the way is not always straight. Sometimes there's zigzags and turns and swirls and, a whole kind of mess before you really start that uphill climb to the summit. So yeah, I can appreciate what you're saying that you kind of did a couple other things, which brings me to, I don't know if this is a joke or if this is, really me asking a question. I think I'm really asking the question, but I'm laughing to myself a little bit thinking that there's such a thing as MBA and entrepreneurship, but I'm wondering, is that just because you tried and failed, so that now you have a master's in it, or is there actually a course?
Yeah, no. So I really appreciate that. And I appreciate that you weren't sure if it was a serious question or a joke. No, I actually have a master's in business
Okay.
administration. And I did get it at Babson, which is a school that is known for entrepreneurship. So
Okay.
it actually is an MBA with a focus on entrepreneurship, and in within that, I really focused my course load on marketing courses. But
Okay.
yeah, love that, love that.
Appreciate the clarification.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I gotta continue from that because
Yeah.
I think, that kind of brings up, like, a fascinating thing for me, which is, I mean, obviously, I went through an MBA program. It's an excellent MBA program, one that I would recommend to so many people. But at the same time, I left that program, I worked for other companies, and then I ended up on my own, and I still had so much to
Mhm,
learn about being an entrepreneur, right? And so even though, yes, I have this, like, official
mhm.
degree, it doesn't mean that I didn't and still don't have days along the way and moments along the way that I'm like, "What the hell am I doing?" Right? And feeling like a fish out of water and like I am clueless. So I just want to put that out there because I think that so many people are like, "Oh, I have my MBA and therefore I know everything." I do not know everything. I totally do not. I'm learning every day. So,
Yeah, yeah. I think it's great to be humble about it and to know that, like, I think it's like everything. You get the official training, but it doesn't become real until you're trying to apply it, and then you're stumbling through things and you go, "Oh, that's what they meant."
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So I can appreciate that. So in your book, what made you come up with the idea for the book? Is it like chicken noodle soup and it's a whole bunch of like entrepreneurial stories, or you said it's an entrepreneurial memoir? What does that mean for you?
So I sat down and I started. I'd known that I wanted to write a book for a while. And so then there was this pandemic, you might have noticed.
Mm, mm-mm.
And yeah, I know.
Sounds
And
awful.
I and I found myself with some extra time
You don't
because
say.
um yeah, because I didn't go out and socialize anymore
Mhm.
and all the things, right? And so I'd wanted to write a book for a while, and I was like, well, if you are ever going to get one done, it's probably going to be when you have no life, right? So I committed to doing it, and I sat down and I started outlining what is it that I want to say to other entrepreneurial women now that I've
Mm,
been doing this for like 10 years, right? And I outlined a whole series of areas that I wanted to touch upon. And I
mhm.
knew from reading other books, right, that people learn best and enjoy the process of learning often when it comes with a story. Because we relate to other humans on a human level, right? We don't want just someone to be like,
Mhm.
well, if you're having this problem, do XYZ and everything will be fine, right? It's like, no,
No one wants a know-it-all.
no one. So I knew that the best way that I could share what I had to say was by taking the time to say, okay, how did I learn these lessons? Where did they come from? And what stories can I tell about my experience that will make them come alive for
Mm,
someone reading
mhm.
this and make it more tangible and frankly interesting,
Hmm.
right? And so that's what I did. So I came up with what I wanted to say. And then I said, okay, well, what are the stories that support that? And let me tell those stories.
Yeah.
And then at the end of each section of the book, there are questions to help the reader internalize what I've talked about and how it applies to their life.
That is so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that it's so easy to consume information, but then where's the implementation or where is the stop and think about what you just read kind of thing, you know? So I think that that's valuable that you put that in there where you can kind of stop, ruminate, like you're not just speeding through to get to the next chapter. Like, okay, hold your horses. This is what you just read. Now, how do you feel about that? How does that relate to your journey as an entrepreneur? And, how can you improve upon it? Or, are there changes you want to make? Or just a moment to stop and reflect.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the way we grow often is through introspection,
Hmm.
right? It's okay, gee, I'm not having the best Monday morning. What's going wrong?
Hmm.
What isn't working? Why am I not having the best Monday morning? Or I am having a kick ass Monday morning. What happened? What did I do different? Why is it working so well today? Right? There are always reasons, but if we don't take the time to kind of look at the picture and say,
Mhm.
what's different about this week versus last week? What did I choose to do differently? And it can be something really like deep, and it can be something like, well, I got a really good night's sleep. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right? It can be anything, but it's all about examining it and taking the time to look at our experience and saying, okay, well, how does that impact what I want to achieve or who I want to
Yep.
be? Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I heard from a business coach that said education without implementation is just entertainment. So I
Yes.
said it slowly so you can kind of digest it as you hear it. So,
I
yes,
love that.
education without implementation is just entertainment. And it's so
It
true.
is so true.
So, and I would, yeah, yeah. Implementation is probably my biggest struggle. Like, I'm all about reading stuff and listening to podcasts and going on Audible or listening to people's lives, all that kind of stuff. But then when do I take the time to stop and turn that into a plan?
Yeah. Well, and I think that is a thing that so many women entrepreneurs, so many entrepreneurs, doesn't have to be women, right? It's the quote unquote shiny object, right?
Yeah.
Because we look at something and we go, "Oh my gosh, that's a new tactic that will help me make my business amazing," right? It will
Mhm.
help me get all the clients I want. And
Mhm.
people learn about the tactic and then they start to implement it, and then instead of figuring out what's going well and what isn't and doing that introspection of why and all of that stuff, another tactic comes along and they go, "Oh, let me try that one instead." Right? And the reality is that all of them probably will work for some people, right?
Yep.
But it's about finding the ones that work for you because of who you are and your personality and your strengths and weaknesses of any kind, and then continuing to do that, right? And being consistent.
Yep.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean you can't layer on new and additional things,
Of course.
but if you lose the kind of place you started succeeding, then you're probably in a little bit of trouble. I hate to say it.
Well, I think that sounds like a fantastic book. Tell me the name, give me the short version, and then give me the full title version.
So hang on tight is the easy way to say it. And the more thorough title of the book is Hang On Tight, Learn to Love the Roller Coaster of Entrepreneurship.
Okay. And you guys, I'm going to put this in the show notes. Now, something really super cool, you guys. I have a number 904-560-5597. You guys, this is so cool. Text me the words hang on tight with no spaces again to 904-560-5597. Scroll to your show notes, gonna be a hyperlink. Press, text, done. Okay. And we can get you guys a link to purchase her book so you guys can start reading and maybe figure out, what you're doing wrong, or maybe have some of that introspection and go, you know what? I'm okay. I'm doing some things that are pretty right. But have a little company in the what do they say? Misery loves company. So maybe you can relate to some of Suzanne's stories and appreciate the book for what it is, but also grow your own business. Which brings us, I would guess, to your song that you've chosen for today. If
Yeah.
you wouldn't mind, yep, share with my audience what song you chose and then dive right into why.
So I chose Firework by Katy Perry.
Yay!
And there is so much I love about this song. First of all, I just love the I love the musicality of it. I love the ebbs and flows and the
Mm,
the highs and lows, and so that even without the words, I just love that. I love that in the first couple of notes of this song, if I hear it, I know exactly what song it is, right?
and, like, don't you already, like, instantly get pumped up? You're like, "Oh, here we go,
Totally.
here we go."
Yeah, like, it's super energizing, but then when you get a little bit deeper and you start listening to the lyrics or, thinking about the lyrics, it's talking about the plastic bag that's paper thin and, flowing through the wind, and I think I just relate to that. It's like sometimes you just feel like you don't know exactly which direction you're going, and things are swooping you along and you don't have control of it, right? Or
Mm,
that
mhm.
then she talks about okay, like a house of cards, one blow from caving in. I mean, I don't know any entrepreneur that doesn't feel that way often. I don't know any mother that doesn't feel that way often,
Oh,
right? Frankly,
yes.
probably all of us on some level feel a little bit that way all the time. Like one little thing could change and the world would blow up, right? For us. So it's things like
Mhm.
that. And then
Mhm.
it's all about the spark in you, right? And allowing yourself to push yourself out there and say, "No, I'm not just the paper bag. I'm not the house of cards. I have something that I want to share. And there's something really big inside of me that I just have to get out there to people." And so then it's like, you're a firework. Take the moment, take the
Mhm.
opportunity to light up the sky and show people who you are. And this one little thing that you do could be the spark that sets off all those beautiful lights and all those beautiful colors and just has people kind of stopping and staring in awe, right? And my belief is that all of us, every single person on the planet has the ability that in some way or another they could awe someone. Maybe it's because they have more patience than anyone. Maybe it's because they're more giving than anyone. Maybe it's because they have a truly unique idea about something that has never existed before, right? It can be anything. So many of us spend our lives like that paper bag kind of floating through the wind instead of, you know, finding the way to create the little spark that lights off the fireworks. And I guess as an entrepreneur and as someone who works with entrepreneurs, I feel like I'm trying to help people all the time uncover that
Mm.
spark in them and, you know, create the beautiful sky that is going to have people going, "Oh, wow."
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
Isn't that beautiful?
Mhm.
So, yeah, that's why I like the song.
Well, I too love this song for the imagery, because who hasn't felt like that plastic bag drifting through the wind? And honestly, to me, my interpretation is just feeling very insignificant. Just like I'm just
Mhm.
wafting in the wind. I got nothing going on, you know, trying to find your place in the world, I guess. So a little bit
Yeah,
different, but
yeah,
I think everybody can relate to that feeling of being that plastic bags just thin, floating around and just trying to figure it out. Like you said, it makes me think of if you stand for nothing, then you'll fall for anything. Just trying to figure out what you
yeah,
stand for, what you want your legacy to be, all those kinds of things. And then the House of Cards, when you're saying that, one blow could change everything, it makes me think of one time I heard Al Roker. He said, we're all just one decision away from a different life. And so, you could blow on those cards and that House of Cards could crumble
yeah,
and it could make you go to your next idea. Or maybe you get that card on there and maybe it doesn't crumble with the next blow. Maybe it's a solid idea and you get to move forward with it. So,
actually, I love that because I think, you think of like a house of cards, right? Like that if it was blown on, I think we think about it collapsing, right?
yeah.
But in the imagery in her song with the power of fireworks and
Mm,
kind of blowing upward,
mm,
like what if there's a blow to the house of cards and instead of it collapsing, they all start like flittering in the air,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And spreading, I don't know, a message or a something
Yeah,
instead of collapsing.
yeah,
I had never thought about it that way, but
mhm,
that's what that just made me think of.
yeah, yeah, and then, of course, we've all felt 6 feet under screaming and no one hears us, that we're
Oh
just
yeah.
drowning as entrepreneurs. Like, what first, imposter syndrome, right? Like, what am I doing? Who am I? Does anybody care that I'm talking about this stuff? But second of all, even all the struggles of an entrepreneur and maybe even just talking to your family.
Mhm.
Like I know to my husband, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, and talking to him about stuff. And he's like, you got it. but no, like seriously, this is my cry for help. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not just exaggerating right now.
yeah. You know what? I remember a number of years ago when I wanted to get myself into a mastermind, and it was a sizable investment, so I was talking to my husband about it, and he's like, "I'm not saying I don't want you to do this, I don't think you need it. You're so capable, and, you have your MBA and all this," and I was like, I mean, of course, it meant a lot to me that my husband believed in me, right?
Of course.
But I
Yes.
think that unless you're an entrepreneur, you don't understand that need to have people around you that are experiencing the same thing and who will stand at your side and say, "You know what? You can do this. I know right now you're feeling like you can't, but you totally can." And I talk about having
Hmm.
community like that in my book, and I refer to it as having a tribe of roller coasters
Oh,
because we who are entrepreneurs, we are on the roller coaster because
Mhm.
we are just we are I don't want to use the word addicted because it's negative, but you know, our lives are about the highs and lows of
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, right?
Yep.
And then I talk about my husband and my friends who are not entrepreneurs as the steady trains who
Oh.
ride along beside us, right? They just live in a different way. It's more steady.
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with that,
No.
right? But we entrepreneurs are just up and down and loop de loop and yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's very true. I mean, we're full of confidence, but somehow it creeps in where you second guess yourself. And yeah, I think it is because of all the highs and lows and doing it on your own. And again, misery loves company, or maybe I should say success loves company. It is nice to have other people who have been there, done that, and said, listen, I know you're down right now, but it is going to get better. Or this is just today. Wait till tomorrow and you get two new clients. And then it's like, what was I worried about yesterday with that? That's crazy. That kind of stuff. So I can completely appreciate that. Listen, in just a minute, you're going to want to text the word details to the number I give you. So quick, go grab a pen. I'll wait. Okay, write down 904-560-5597 and the word details. Now, here's why you're going to want to text it. If you're an entrepreneur like me, I know that you have a lot of hats that you have to wear. But guess what? I have really good news. I've just found a system. I call it the No More system. Why do I call it that? Well, no more wondering if someone looked at your proposal, no more worrying about checking messages on multiple platforms, no longer having to check back with a prospect and see if they need to reschedule, no more worrying about the prospects that ghosted you. There's an automation for that. There are tags and segmentations that will update a contact's record when they say open an email or whatever. It's amazing. No more worrying about updating your pipeline. No more, I've got to make sure to send this person information. No more to a lot of things. So I call it the No More system, even though the actual name is Follow Up Speed. Follow Up Speed as a CRM, an automated follow-up team. You can run a promotion, a course, a membership. It can even be your website, all rolled into one quote-unquote hub, if you will. It's seemingly endless, all of the different pipelines clients can go through with Follow Up Speed. Best part, it's at their speed. I just want to share one more thing, which is my favorite current automation. If a client or listener texts one of my keywords, sure, I can have an automation in place, or I can reply as myself. And that's who they've invested in, correct? Us, the business owner. I hope you can see your day-to-day being simplified and your business growing as a result. Check out Follow Up Speed now by texting details to 904-560-5597. And of course, it'll be in the show notes. Now, back to the show. Is this a song that has grown with you? Or is this like when have you used it in your life? Or is it just simply when it comes on the radio, you really appreciate it?
Oh, I actually have used it many times just to get my energy up. So,
Mm,
I really believe that we need to be kind of vibrating at a certain level to do things successfully. And when we're feeling down or feeling low, we need to kind of stop what we're doing and get that vibration higher, because when we're in that low place, like nothing good is coming from that, right?
Amen.
And I can't tell you how many times I've been in my office and, things just aren't working, they aren't flowing, and I will, like, grab my phone and put on some Firework and dance around just to get the energy up in my body. Now, unfortunately, I can do that a lot less now because my husband has been working from home for the last year and a half, and I should say, I can still do it, but I can't blast it quite the same way because I don't think
Yeah.
his very corporate coworkers that he's like on the Zoom with all day long really appreciate it quite the same way. But I definitely use it to really just lift my energy up.
Yeah. Yeah. Another lady that I interviewed, she did the same thing. That when she's having a moment, that's her song to kind of, re empower her and, spark that confidence and again, raise the energy. And I think it's so true. I mean, I remember when my kids were really little and, you've changed them, you fed them, you played with them, you try to give them a nap. They're beyond themselves. And I would just all of a sudden have this light bulb moment. And I'm like, you know what? We got to change the mood. We got to put some music on.
Yeah.
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 And this is
Absolutely.
definitely one of those songs. And I love when she hits the chorus.
Oh yeah.
I love, do you know there's still a chance for you? Because there's a spark in you. You just got to ignite. And I love the music starts to build. And let's see here. You just got to
Yes.
ignite the light and let it shine. Just own the night like the 4th of July. Like, get ready to, let off
Mhm.
your fireworks. It makes me think of that Rachel Platten song. I may only have one match, but I can make an explosion.
Oh, lovely. Yes.
The fight song.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of when you were talking about the sparks, making a big display, and just being proud and confident and just standing true in who you are. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, when that imposter syndrome comes in, you need someone to remind you of that and say, you know what, baby, you're a firework, just own the night.
Am
Oh, I just love that. I got the chills just thinking about that. Just how it sounds. And then when you are in that moment and the song comes on and you can't help it.
No, I can't help
No.
smile when I hear that song, and you're right, especially the chorus. It's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah."
Yeah, it starts to build.
Mhm.
She's talking about it, and then, baby, you're a firework.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so great. It's so great. Yeah, I love she just busts into it. So now you have children.
I
Well, how old
do.
are your children?
I have, 12 and 14-year-old boys.
Okay, and do they appreciate this song? Do they have a little dance party with mom, or they're getting too old?
My younger one will still sometimes have a dance party with me. My older one is a little, beyond that at this point. Um,
Yeah, yeah. 14 is he a freshman?
he's a freshman. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's
Too cool for school.
I mean, I wouldn't quite put him in that category, but
Okay.
it's more like looking at me like I'm a little nuts,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah,
But don't you hope that you set that example for them? And then when they're later on in their life, they maybe remember, like, you know what, when mom got stressed out, she put the music on and she danced. Or maybe they look for that just even in their partner,
yeah,
for their kids to experience. Like, I think it just sets such a great example. Like, you know what? Life's kind of kicking me in the butt right now, but I know what we can do. We can put on some music. Let's put on some Katy Perry Firework.
right, absolutely, or whatever song they love. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
It's definitely individual to the person. So,
Yes, it
or
is.
specific to the person, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Well, is there anything else you want to add about the song?
Well, I really love the concept, and we talked a little bit about this, but you don't have to feel like a waste of space. Your original cannot be replaced, right? And I think, gosh, I think that so many of us kind of feel like we're just another one of many in the crowd, right? Whereas, as I was saying earlier, every single one of us has something special in us, every single one. And it's about finding what that special thing is. A lot
Yes.
of times you'll feel like, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, right? You'll feel like you're getting passed over or people don't see what you're doing or whatever, right? But then it goes into, it's about the doors aren't
Mm,
opening, but maybe that's because the one that does open leads you to the perfect road. A lot of us feel like we're trying and trying and trying something and it's not working.
mm.
But at some point you try something and then that's the thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And you know what? It makes me think of, I've heard a lot of people say when they're planning, whether it's a launch or something exciting in their business, they'll say, well, this or something better, right? This or something better. And it's kind of, I almost feel like it's a take on that. Okay, I'm trying this door. I'm trying this door. Wow, this one's not opening. This one's not opening. It's okay. Like, you need to accept it when the doors don't open because it means that you haven't gotten to the right door yet. And at some point, you're going to open that one door and it is going to be like, whoa, that is the door that I was supposed to go through. And, maybe for whatever
Yeah.
reason, you didn't quite see it and you were really, really close. But until you pulled that one, you hadn't made the right connection. So I guess I would,
Can I ask you really quick,
yeah.
going on that, as a coach, how many times have you seen somebody clinging to the doorknob of the wrong door?
Oh. Oh. You know what? I see people go back to the same door and the same door and the same door. And I think the bigger thing is that I often find myself trying to show them a new door and they're like, "Oh, I can't open that one."
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Well, maybe not, but like try the knob. Try it. Maybe you
Yeah.
can." Right? So, yeah, I think maybe less
Hmm.
clinging and more fear of trying,
Mm,
right?
okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then, as you come to the end of the song where she says, "Come and let your colors burst, make them go, right?" And then she says,
Hmm.
"You're gonna leave them falling down, boom, 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 even brighter than the moon, moon, moon," right? And it's like, yeah, when you find that thing that is so innate to you and you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is what I should have been doing all along and
Hmm.
how I should have been doing it." It is. It's like you're lighting up the sky and almost like almost like someone who says, "I'm not going to the fireworks," but then they live close enough to the fireworks that they still are hearing the booms and seeing the sky. It's like they can't
Yes.
help but see you because you are so bright and you are so loud,
Mm.
all in good ways, right?
Yes,
That
yes.
like the vibration is getting to them anyway, right? And
Mm.
so, yeah,
Mhm.
it's just that like boom, 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 even brighter than the moon,
Mhm.
right? You're
Mhm.
big and you're
Yep.
bold and you're out there and people can't help but kind of get a little bit pulled in to what you've created,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yep. I like that right after that she said it's always been inside of you. So just like how you're saying, like, you try different things and then you find that one thing that is just
Yeah.
you. That's why you're here. That's your purpose. And you can do it better than
Yep.
anybody else. There might be 16 other people doing it, but guess what? They've never done it with you, your way, in the way that you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. With
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
sense of it, with your compassion to it, with your I don't know what, right? It depends on what it is. But I mean, a lot of
Right.
people created mobile phones, but then there was Steve Jobs, right? And
Yep.
hello, right? I mean, so we all have something inside of us that is different than anybody else, and
Yep.
if we can harness it, we can do incredible things with it.
Yeah, it's so amazing. I love all of Katy Perry's songs. This is, I think, the third one that I've had on Memories of the Beat, and they are all so inspiring and empowering. And I think that they're just very easy to relate to Thank you so much for your time today, Suzanne. I wanted to, say again, you guys, if you're on the entrepreneurial track or you know somebody who is, we're going to have the information in the show notes, but it's going to be, again, text hang on tight, no spaces, to 904-560-5597. As well, you can text the word Spotify and the playlist will come right to your phone. So you don't have to go into Spotify and look it up, nothing like that. It's just a quick click and you get it. A quick click and you're going to get the link to Suzanne's book. Thank you so much for your time again, Suzanne. And everybody listening, I hope that this episode was music to your ears. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? You never know what rabbit holes we'll get to go down and explore. Were you reminded of anything? Or anyone? Share what it was with me in a review. Honestly, the reviews don't do me any favors other than knowing people like you are listening to this podcast. Insert cheesy wink. However, the ratings do help, so leave me 5 stars. You know you wanna. This podcast was produced by Virtual You, supporting you in all things podcasting. To connect or check me out on social media, I know you're just gonna stalk me. But see the show notes, as always, for details. Can't wait to dive into my next guest's memories with a beat. Hit subscribe now. You don't want to miss the next episode.